Welcome to Eat This, Not That, Think This, Not That, practical strategies on how to eat better, think better, and live better. That's what we're going to be talking about today. So next, we're going to be talking about what you're going to get out of this master class is clarity. Clarity on what to eat, why to eat, and how to eat, so that you can transform your mind and transform your body. It's all about doing both. Motivation, clear-cut motivation on how to stay motivated, how to stick to that plan, so that when temptation strikes, you know how to counteract it, be ready for it, so that you don't really have to worry about falling off. And then facts. I'm going to be giving you guys a lot of facts, scientific studies to back up what I'm going to be talking about today. And this is not just Mitchell's area fairy, he came up with it type of deal. I came up with the plan, but all of the components of the plan are backed up by multiple scientific studies that I'll be showing you. And simplicity. It's got to be simple. It's got to be simple. In order to stick with something for the long term, it's got to be simple. It's got to be easy. I've broken this thing down to one rule. That's it. There's one thing that you need to follow. So that was a big thing that I saw with a lot of things that I was preparing for this. Just going through a lot of material. It's just way too complicated. Just a lot of stuff, a lot of moving parts, and people just say, look, I give up. It's like just too much information. It's too simple. It's too complex. So I wanted to come up with something simple for you guys. So, who is this guy? Most of you guys know me. I've been training here at Orange Theory for about 2.5 years, almost 3 now. It's kind of crazy. Some of you guys might be in that photo right there. Yeah, there you go, Linda. You're in that photo. Yeah. So I just took that from my 90-minute class that we just had. I've been training people for about 4 years. Officially, for about 3 years. I did for a while at LA Fitness before I came here. So I've seen hundreds of people, trained hundreds of people, have fielded all kinds of questions. Yep, to man the gamut. And I'm also an author. Linda is fascinated. Yes, that is me. Yes, that is me. So I've written several ebooks and published them online. So I'm an online internet marketer in the space of fitness. And so, like I said, I've published multiple different things online. I'm known as Fit with Mitch LLC. That's my website, fitwithmitch.com. That's actually from my latest product that just came out, Reverse Your Genes, Reveal Your Abs. And so a lot of what I'm going to be talking about today was written in that little ebook right there. So publish a lot of content, and then of course an enthusiast, always learning, always reading, researching, stuff like that, trying to stay ahead of the curve, stay on the cutting edge with the latest science and everything like that. So that's a little bit about me. Y'all didn't know. All right, so why this class now? It's because food can be a big ball of confusion, and I really wanted to take a lot of the confusion out of food. It doesn't have to be that complicated. It doesn't have to be this weird, mysterious thing that is so much stuff out there. So I just really wanted to cut through the clutter, cut through the confusion. And also from my last master class, I got back a lot of feedback from the survey that I handed out. People were just asking a simple question, same thing over again: what to eat, what to eat, what to eat. It was just on almost every survey was something about nutrition, something about what to eat. So I was like, well, I know what to do the next master class on, what to eat. And so that's why we're doing this one. And then the other thing is the diet industry is a $20 billion industry, and it continues to go up and up and up. Talk about a sad stat. I was in the gym the other day, and they had the news on, which I hate that. It's a little small gym. And when the reporters had a stat up there that says 75% of Americans are overweight to obese. 70, that's 3 out of 4 people. It's like it's not normal anymore to be thin, to be in shape, to like be in charge of your life. It's not normal anymore. And my mission is to help people overcome their physical, mental, and spiritual limitations so that they can live a life of freedom that God has intended them to live. And I really don't believe that we should be imprisoned to our bodies, imprisoned to our minds, imprisoned to our cravings, imprisoned to the society that we live in. And so I wanted to give you guys some tools to help you break out of that prison, to free yourself. That's really what this class is all about. And you don't really have to succumb to society, what society tells you is normal. You don't have to be part of the 75% if you don't want to. So that's what I'm really talking about. And like I said, it's a $20 billion industry, $20 billion in diet books, diet drugs, and weight loss surgeries are what they were really talking about. So, ton of money, and it continues to go up and up. It's kind of controversial. Do they really want people to get thin? Because there's so much money in it and keeping people looking for the next thing. So, hey. All right, so in coming up with the content for today, I ran into a couple of different obstacles, and I really said, I want to put myself in everybody else's shoes. I really want to see what it's like to really, what are some of the common pitfalls that people run into when they're trying to figure out what to eat, trying to get their minds in the game. And I looked around and I saw what I call the common causes of confusion, the triple C's. And the first thing is mislabeled labels. Mislabeled labels. I told you guys it's a $20 billion industry, right? So they'll do just about anything to get your money when it comes to that. Fat-free isn't so worry-free. So this one's talking about zero trans fat. If you see that on the front of the label, zero trans fat. What that actually means is regulated by the FDA. What that actually means is that it has to be less than 0.5 grams of trans fat per serving. It's not actually zero trans fat. And so if you see on the label right here, I have partially hydrogenated soybean oil. Partially hydrogenated soybean oil. But then it'll tell you that it's zero trans fat. Or partially hydrogenated soybean oil is trans fat. They put it on the label and they're telling you that it's there, but they're not calling it trans fat. So you want to be careful and look out for stuff like that. Definitely, the common theme about all of this is going to be reading the labels, and so I'll be showing you how to look at those labels. The next thing here is all natural, right? All natural can be all bad. Now, all natural isn't actually, the term all natural isn't actually an FDA regulated term. So there's no real standard in terms of what it's called to be all natural. Generally what it means is that it hasn't been exposed to artificial sweeteners, artificial colors, and synthetic stuff like that. But it can be infused with sodium like chicken. It can be infused with a lot of preservatives and things. Depending on how they cook the food, like these potato chips, depending on how they cook them, it might not be all natural, might not be all good for you. So again, reading the label on that. It's taking a little bit, all right. And then sugar-free, not so sweet. Have you guys ever asked the question, if it's sugar-free, why is it sweet? Yeah. I used to ask that question. I'm like, how is it sugar-free and how is it sweet? No sugar added, sugar-free, especially when it comes to candy. When you look out for hidden sugar oils such as methanol, xylitol, and sorbitol. Any alls, right? Those are going to be alcohols that they put into the food to give it that sweeter taste. And a funny story, not funny story, Diet Coke, aspartame. Probably heard about aspartame. Your body breaks down aspartame in a certain way. And for some people, their bodies don't break it down properly, like the way it should be. I had a guy in my group one time who got drunk off of drinking Diet Coke. Yeah, he couldn't drink Diet Coke. The way his body broke down aspartame made him tipsy, made him get drunk. And so you don't want to mess with that stuff, man. I told you it's alcohols, this stuff getting to your system, man. Not good for you. All right. Other thing I ran into was TMI, too much information. Looking at women's health is you can look at any magazine, Women's Health, for instance. What are the things they always have on the cover? Sex. It's like 8 different ways to have sex. It's like, how's that? Okay. Sexy abs and butt. It's always sex, abs, butt, skin. Look healthier with your skin. I don't know how. It just fascinates me. I'm like, how do they keep saying the same thing in different ways every month, and people continue to buy it? I don't know. I saw this over here. Yeah, it's the same. Every label has the same thing. Every cover. The cookie diet, Dr. Siegel. I actually didn't look into this thing, but. But that's the Maddie not buying it, but that's the latest thing, right? So I'm going to let you guys into a little bit of how marketing influence works. Okay, so a couple of things when it comes to influence. One of the biggest things is authority, coming from an authoritative source. We, as human beings, are hardwired to be influenced by authority. So they put a doctor on the thing. So if you look at a lot of the diet books out there now, it's like by so-and-so MD, doctor this, and da-da-da-da. And it could be the most ludicrous thing in the world, like the cookie diet. But they got the man up there in the scrubs with a stethoscope. That's on purpose. That's for a reason. The color of it being white is a purity. It's to engender that trust. And the title, cookie diet, he may actually have some legit name for it, but the publisher was like, well, we gotta give it a hook. We gotta make it stick. We gotta make it stand out. So they put that up there. Huh? Yeah.
Who does that? At the same degree.
Well. See, there you go. It's just more letters behind the name. Make them more authoritative.
The average bear is not going to figure out that.
That's what they're counting on. That's what they're counting on, Linda. That's exactly what they're counting on. Social media. Oh yeah, just what does this mean? Google. So Pinterest and Facebook, and I just put those up there for social media. You can get a lot of information out there. So. Not sometimes, but we're drowning in a sea of information. We have more than enough information on, and it can cause paralysis by analysis with all of this information that we have out here. And then another common cause of confusion that I saw was the tripwires. I wrote up there this week about tripwires, and I came up with a nice little acronym for TRIP. People falling over it. It's time. You guys are talking about time. Time. Running out of time, being in a rush, we live in a convenient society. Even Starbucks has a drive-through now. And that irks me to no end because Starbucks, when it originally started, was supposed to be what's called a third space. It's supposed to be a space between your office and your home. And so they originally served you coffee in porcelain cups with plates because they wanted you to come and sit and stay a while. That was the whole point of Starbucks. But now you get these little to-go cups. Now they have drive-throughs. And just like, oh my goodness, where are we living in? So time, of course, planning ahead, having little Tupperwares, little bags, even knowing your route, knowing what places to go on the route what places you can stop in, what things are on the menu, the places you can stop in that I'm going to talk about in a minute, that you can not sabotage yourself. And just like I said, just planning ahead. If you know that, if you're looking at, so over the past couple of days, I've done this. The past couple of days, this has been my pattern. Or when this happens, I always do this. Like, for instance, my thing is, if I don't cook on Sunday, I'm done. I'm buying food for the rest of the week in the company cafeteria. Like, no matter how much time I have in the evening, it is so hard for me to come home and cook something. And so my thing is, okay, I know that's my pattern, so I'm not going to fool myself and think that, oh, I'm going to have the willpower on Monday night to cook something. That's not me, no. So I need to buckle down and find a way to do that. And so, for instance, tomorrow I'm packed from 8:30 to 8:30. I'm not going to have time to cook. So I need to go to the grocery store and cook today. That's what I'm talking about. Planning ahead, setting yourself up for the success. Restrictions. We talked about that in the How to Kill Cravings workshop. Artificial restrictions. We got these diets out now that are like, no carbs, no proteins, no fats, no food. And nobody can stay on that for too long. Like it's not realistic. It's just not realistic. And you set yourself up for a psychological failure. You crash. Your emotions, your physiology is always going to win over your psychology when it comes to your cravings and your hormones and stuff like that. Especially if you're not equipped with it, you haven't planned for it, you don't really know how this stuff works. It's going to bite you in the butt every time. So setting yourself up with these artificial restrictions is not the way to go. And insulin spikes. Insulin sensitivity is through the roof for a lot of people. Their bodies just aren't absorbing the foods that they're taking in. And an insulin spike is akin to like a traffic jam. So you send all this traffic, it's like rush hour at your pancreas. And it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, fat, get it out of here. But when you kind of let the insulin raise at a gradual level, it's like, okay, we can direct the traffic accordingly in this thing. So that's a big thing. And then packaging. I talked to you guys earlier about the book cover. There's so much that goes into, like I said, this is a $20 billion industry. You have world-class marketers, world-class packaging experts that are packaging up these foods, that are writing these labels, they're writing these nutrition labels. And so if you aren't aware of the psychology that goes into the packaging of the products, it'll get you every single time. Like, for instance, you go to a Walgreens, they buff the floor, the bottom of the floor really well so that it kind of glows light on the bottom of the thing down there, on the lower rung down there. So they put foods at a certain height so they know that you're more likely to buy. Packaging being a certain color with certain fonts to trigger the it's okay, sugar-free, fat-free. All of these, it's free food. No. But we read that and we think, oh, free. It's subconsciously telling you to say, oh, it's okay to eat this, whatever it is. So watching out for the packaging so you don't get tripped up on that. And then finally, alphabet soup. There's a long list. I just put the top 3 that are up there. But GMOs, genetically modified organisms, stuff like seedless grapes. Seen?
Yeah, me too. I never crossed my mind either. Seedless grapes, I just thought I would like it enjoying not spitting the seeds out. Right? Yeah.
That doesn't.
That's a genetically modified food.
Yeah. I mean, because you don't have a grape growing in nature without a seed. How did it get like that? How did it get like that? Even bananas have been modified too because the seeds are a lot smaller in bananas. And the bananas that we eat, the seeds are a lot smaller than an actual banana. And they're also made to be sweeter than an actual banana. But the biggest things are beets and the sugar that we get from beets and corn and the sugar that we get from corn. Sugar cane to some degree.
They are okay to eat beets and corn?
No, I'm saying they're one of the most genetically modified things in our, yes.
Genetically modified?
Yes.
Even
Yeah.
if you buy them at whole paycheck?
Whole food. Oh, whole paycheck. You can, again, like I said, you can look up the labels and really see if it's not the labels, but
In the produce section?
Yeah, in the produce section.
Beets still on it?
Yeah, they can do that.
How is that genetically modified?
What they do is they take the seeds in the lab, genetically spice them to bring out certain traits, and then plant that so that it grows, and then they harvest it. So they can harvest things. There's a long list of GMOs, but especially when it comes to the food, especially when it comes to what you ate, which I'll get into in just a second. High fructose corn syrup, of course, we talked about that being in so many different things. That's the main cause for your insulin spikes. And then monosodium glutamate, MSG, also known as the anti-hunger suppressant mutant hormone. So it's a sodium derivative that they put in your food, stuff like Chinese foods, canned beans, canned vegetables, and it's actually a preservative. So they put the food in, but it actually acts on your mind in a certain way so that you're hungry again shortly after you eat the food. Real tricky how to get you on that stuff. So MSGs, those are a couple things. So I told you guys about one simple rule. So those are the things that can trip you up. One simple rule: eat foods that grow as much as possible. Now I know we talked about the GMOs.
Yeah.
The GMOs.
Exactly.
Yeah, the GMOs. Definitely, if you get those things from a local farmer, for the most part, if you talk to the farmer, like you go to the farmer's market and you talk to the guy, you can get some information that way on how that food is produced. And they'll tell you right away, hey, look, yeah, we used some type of pesticides or something like that, or so you can talk to them that way. But eating foods that grow, that's my simple rule, as much as possible. I know it's not always possible, but even when you're out looking for, okay, what's on the menu that I can find like 80% of it is grown, or 90% of it is grown, or all of it is grown, and they didn't have to make it. Like they didn't have to like make this in the lab. So for instance, pasta would be something that was made. You don't grow pasta, you know. You grow flour, you grow wheat, and you pulverize the wheat to make the flour.
All right, so,
And then you got to put it into the thing.
So if Mitchell is out at a restaurant,
Yeah.
what does Mitchell eat?
Mitchell is going to eat, for my carbs, I will eat either some potatoes or some rice,
Right.
something like that. That's grown, right? And then pretty much any meat.
But you're not getting any of the sauces or any of that stuff.
I've never been much of a sauce guy, like since I was a kid.
You were a sauce guy. You would not get the sauce.
Yeah, I'll be pretty careful about the sauce. Pretty careful about the sauce. Now, it's tricky when you're out there, because I'm going to get into the meats in just a second. It's tricky when you're out, and that's why I said this is typically applies when you're preparing the food for yourself, or when you're out like that and you have a menu where you can choose from, because a lot of the meat that's out there is going to be processed. So I'm going to be talking about that in a second. But yeah, so the carbs, like I said, the rice or the potatoes, generally what I would eat when I'm out. Some type of meat, and then definitely some green vegetables when I'm out there like that. Yeah. Next up. Huh? Yeah. No. So grow, I call it the grow plan. It's not a grow diet. I call it the grow plan. The grow plan. And the four components are greens, dark leafy greens, real protein. Going to go into more about that. Meats, but also certain dairy products and stuff like that. Omega-3s and whole carbs / water. I'm going to be going through those, as we go throughout the presentation. So, greens, dark leafy greens, also non-starchy vegetables. So, dark leafy greens, probably the powerhouse of foods. So many nutrients, so many vitamins in your dark leafy greens. So stuff like the kales, the spinaches, yes. The greens, collard greens, mustard greens, all of those. Those are going to be your dark leafy greens. Decreases acidity. Now, our bodies have a natural pH level of just over neutral, about 7.2 to 7.5, all right? A lot of the foods that we eat when it comes to proteins, carbs, especially processed foods, increases the acidity in our bodies if we don't have enough greens in our diet to balance us out. Weight gain in a lot of people is due to having a highly acidic body. Their bodies are trying to hold on to the toxins. It's storing the toxins from the highly acidic body in the fat cells. That's what it's doing. And it's inflamed. So by decreasing the acidity, you see people when they go on some type of juice cleanse or something like that, how their skin might break out or something. That's because the toxins in their bodies are escaping through their skin. High in antioxidants. So much is written on antioxidants. And what antioxidants do is they combat the free radicals in your body, which is the natural process of your cells doing their thing. And so it releases free radicals, can damage your eyesight over time, can cause Alzheimer's and other degenerative diseases over time. So you definitely want to get your hands on that stuff. Increases insulin sensitivity. Talked about that before. The more nutrients your body can absorb, the better your cells are going to function. And tons of other nutrients and vitamins that it's too many to name when it comes to greens here. Some tips on eating. 1 and 1. 1 raw, 1 cooked. So you can have 1 raw leafy vegetable and then 1 cooked non-starchy carb. So that might look like some spinach and some carrots, something like that. That's what that would look like. Smoothies, that's one of my favorite things to do. I have a tough time getting all of the stuff in, so I'm like, dump it in a smoothie, just go. Just blend it up. Let's ride. Just knock it back, throw in some lemon juice or something like that to kind of soften up the flavor a little bit and just take it to the head. Soups are another good way to get those in. And then rinse, wash, and repeat. Now, growing up, my mom had those 2-sided sinks. You ever had one of those 2-sided sinks? So I grew up from Mississippi. So we eat collard greens, pinto beans, you know what the hell I mean. And so my mom would get the collard greens, take them home from the store, and she would she'd fill up both sides with water, just dunk them. And she would just take them up from one side to the next, one side to the next, one side to the next. And once she took all the greens out, it was like this dark, dirty, green-looking water stuff. It was nasty. Rinse that out, clean it out, fill it up, and just do that process again. Dunk, dunk. So she would do that until the water was clear, because it was always like green. And then she would cook it. So definitely washing those things out, especially get them from the farmer's market. You can wash the nature off of those things. They just take it right out of the ground, shake it off a little bit, spray some water on it, and then sell it to you. It's not like in a grocery store where it's all nice, but even if you get it from the grocery store, you still want to definitely wash yourself off. And the thing that I've been looking into lately and been really getting into is greens powders. The one that I'm taking right now is from a company called Onnit.com. I'm taking their earth-grown nutrients. It's they call it a power food. So I put a scoop of that in my water in the morning, squirts in some lemon juice to alkalize it, knock that back. That's my first drink in the morning. I do about 20 ounces of that before I do anything else in the morning. It's really good. Also, I did Nature Foods' Amazing Greens for a while, greens powder. That was actually pretty good as well. So 6 to 8 servings a day, or as much as you can. As much as you can. And those are all different ways to get those in. So I do the powder. Sometimes I do the smoothies, and I try to include them with every meal. So that's how I get all of mine in throughout the day. For breakfast, I'm actually been experimenting with intermittent fasting lately. So I'm not eating until after I leave Orange Theory. But when I was eating before Orange Theory, I would eat, this is again planning ahead, right? I would cook like 2 or 3 omelets the night before or on Sunday night.
3 omelets?
Yeah,
How many eggs per omelet?
2 to 3. Yeah,
That's a lot of eggs.
yeah, yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, so
Make that.
the omelets cooked in coconut oil because I throw my coconut oil in my skillet. Omelets with spinach or some type of dark leafy green spinach or arugula or something like that. I put that in there. Throw in some type of meat sometimes. I haven't, huh?
Not pork roll, right?
No, not pork roll, no.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah, I haven't been doing that lately because I used to throw in like some lunch meat or something, but I haven't been doing that lately. And then throw in some cheese or something like that. And that's really my staple. Like this morning I had an omelet with some spinach and some cheese. That was my breakfast this morning. Well, I've put stuff like ground beef in mine before. Like if you get some, I've had some ground beef that I had left over because I make some chili sometimes, and throw some of that in there, and just flip it over and eat it. You get the biggest thing that I try to go for when I'm doing my breakfast is I want to avoid some type of starchy carb. So I've got my proteins, I got my fats and the vegetable oil, and the coconut oil. I got my proteins, and I got my dark leafy greens with the kale or spinach or something like that. Oh, next slide. Next up, real protein. Yes, meats. Yes, meats. I actually did vegan last year for a couple of months, and it was about 2 months. I made it about 2 months, and I didn't even notice a transition, like because I was following this documentary, had this recipe book, and I just didn't skip a beat. It's like, oh, this is not bad, and I noticed my nose started bleeding, and I was getting sick. I was like, oh, well, maybe this particular thing isn't for me. I know some people have done it for like decades, but again, just experimenting on yourself, see what works for you. I lost weight too quickly for my personal liking, and like I said, I wasn't getting enough rest, and my nose started bleeding on like all a daily basis. That's just what happened to me. As soon as I entered meat back into my diet, that stuff went away. So my blood pressure dropped though. It dropped. I was born with pre-hypertensive blood pressure, and on that diet for the first time in my life, like I got like really normal. I was like, okay, this is, but yeah, it wasn't worth the nosebleeds. So amino acids. We have 9 essential amino acids that we have to get out of our diet that we can't make for ourselves. Meats are one of the best places to get those amino acids. Vitamin B12 is another big one. Helps with your energy, mental performance. You have things like creatine and carnitine that are in the meats that help improve mental and physical performance. And of course, better sex drive because of the testosterone. Both men and women need that. Women have a lot more estrogen, but everybody needs some testosterone. Lowers your risk of depression. Like I said, just increases your libido as well. This is a little funny slide there. Earl, is this heaven? Yeah, Joe, the pastor said so. So this is a point for a slide to talk about grass-fed foods, grass-fed beefs, grass-fed chickens, just having the animal eat from its natural environment. So the typical thing here is unprocessed as much as possible. So the meat, not in terms of the process that they go through to get from being killed and cut on your plate. There's not a whole lot of stuff that goes into that. Organic label and what that means. So one of my favorite places, I remember when I first really had some grass-fed beef for the first time, like some grass-fed ground beef for the first time. I was at a farmer's market. This guy was like, oh, yeah, get this stuff. And I was like, oh, man, this stuff is kind of expensive. And he's like, oh, no, try it out. Just try it out. I bet you'll be back. I bet you'll be back. I was like, all right, let me try this stuff. I got home, made my little normal chili that I ate this stuff. I'm eating this stuff. I'm like, this tastes different, man. What have I been eating all my life? It's a big difference, man. That's a big difference. And even just how it looks, how it tastes. And so, yeah, you just want to stay away from that stuff as much as you can and try to go for your grass-fed foods. There's a study done by Harvard that tested 1.2 million people. They pulled together 20 studies. And the conclusion that they came to, because they were trying to figure out the link between red meat, saturated fats, and coronary heart disease. And what they found was consumption of processed meats, but not red meats, is associated with higher evidence of coronary heart disease and diabetes mellitus. So I know for a long time the American Heart Association has been talking about avoid saturated fats, avoid saturated fats, avoid saturated fats, avoid saturated fats. So there are some studies that are coming out now recently that are kind of refuting that, looking at that and saying there's not a whole lot of link to that. The American Heart Association still says to avoid saturated fats and go for the leaner meats as much as possible, the loins, the pork loins, the sirloins, and stuff like that. So I would still advise you guys to do that. Definitely want to try to avoid the trans fats when it comes to that. But I just wanted to put that out there for you guys to let you know that it is okay to eat red meats, according to the 1.2 million people study. So there's some things out there. A study was done in 2010. So outside of meats, you have lean cuts, and you have plant-based sources. Greek yogurt, Greek yogurt. Did you say? Greek froyo. She's throwing it. She's throwing it out there. But yeah, quinoa, which I'll talk about in a minute, is another complete amino acid for plant-based sorts. Hemp is also a really good plant-based source of protein as well. I have some hemp powder at home. Be careful about the hemp powder, though, guys. I'm just letting you know that
you
it
better let them know about that.
Huh?
You better let them know about that.
It's not the best tasting.
Right.
All right? It can taste like dirt. I'm just letting you know. I put that in with my earth-grown nutrients in the morning, and I just knock it back. The earth-grown nutrients actually taste really good. Most greens powders out there you get, they can taste like a greens powder, but the earth-grown nutrients is really good. So 1 to 3 servings a day, or 1 at each meal. Okay. Gotta move it here a little bit. All right, omega-3s, animal-based. You got EPA, DHA, and plant-based you have ALA. A lot of studies have talked about DHA and EPA to help your heart out, heart health, decrease inflammation. The biggest thing here for you guys is increased insulin sensitivity. By helping out the cell membranes, you can increase lipolysis in your cells, which is the breakdown of fatty acids, and then faster brain. I've been talking about that a lot, a better brain function. Omega-3s help you out with that. 50 to 1, that's the ratio of omega-6s to omega-3s in the typical American diet, is anywhere from 20 to 1, 50 to 1. And omega-6s are the opposite sides of omega-3s, can cause a lot of inflammation. A lot of processed meats have it, and a lot of processed carbs have omega-3s. So going for the unprocessed foods as much as possible. Chia. Yes, Obama. They still make those things, apparently. So chia seeds, flax seeds, and hemp seeds are really good for the ALA omega-3. Avocados, butternuts, walnuts, and beech nuts are also other great sources. You can add those to your food for a little crunch. And some other tips about fish oil supplements. You're trying to make sure you get them from reputable companies because the manufacturing process sometimes are not that great. So do your due diligence when you're looking up and getting some fish oil supplements. But those are great ways to get extra omega-3s in your diet, and then substitutions like substituting out avocados for mayo and using it in your ingredients and stuff like that. You can get pretty inventive with that. So 1 or 2 servings a day for that. And then finally, whole carbs and water. Mr. Potato Head, carbs that grow. Carbs that grow. So better, like I said, yep. At one point. All right. You can make your own potato chips. Cut them up, throw some stuff on them, and yeah, that's good. And then bake them in the oven there for a little while. So, yeah. So your body's preferred energy source, man. I've been advocating against low carb diets for so long.
That's so true. It's the worst diet ever.
Man, I've been advocating for that for years. Advocating against that for years. So, man, you want to try to get, especially if you guys been so active in here, you need carbohydrates. Your brain needs carbohydrates to function properly. You need carbs. So like I said, a better, faster brain, low insulin spikes, you can avoid the traffic jam. So the yams, the sweet potatoes, the things like that. Whole carbs, I put up some examples of what I was talking about. Whole carbs, carbs that grow. Sweet potatoes, yams, beans, lentils, legumes. Limited whole grains. You have to, I'm going to leave that up, leave that one up to you guys. Now, unless you have a gluten intolerance or celiac disease, a lot of the research that I've been reading is like there's really not a big need for a person to really avoid gluten like that. Most of us do have some type of reaction to zonulin, but it's a small reaction. Small zonulin and gluten in your gut. But for the most part, most people can eat that and not suffer any ill effects. So whole grains, make sure that it says whole grain, not enriched or something like that on the back of the label. 3 to 4 servings a day. Come on. Next slide. All right. Maybe I need to get a little closer. And then water. We suffer from dehydration a lot. Even in our air-conditioned, in our air-conditioned environments, dries us out. So you want to make sure you're getting plenty of water. Remember I said before on those women's health, how they talk about better skin? It should just say drink more water. It's done. I've solved the next 12 issues of those things. Our bodies are 70% water. And so you guys took a drink. Yes. So our bodies are 70% water. That's essential for proper cell function. Your water is the fuel for your life. So you definitely want to get enough water in. I know Amanda's really good about that. She's got enough water right now. Here's some common sources for the water. Filtered water, stream water. Filter, we get a little pure filter. Stream water, there's places around here you can go and fill it up. Keep a large bottle with you. Bam, bam, bam. Bam, there you go, right on it. And then alkalize your water. There's all kinds of ways to alkalize your water. Putting in a little baking soda. I told you guys that I put the little lemon juice in mine in the morning. It gives it a little flavor. I don't know about you guys, but water tastes funny in the morning. Like when I first wake up, doesn't it taste funny? You drink it like, ugh. So I throw a little lemon juice in there. Gives it some flavor, and it's much more. Yeah, or you can infuse it with some stuff like that. half your body weight in ounces each day.
After body weight, ounces.
Yeah. Yeah. So
It's not that crude, you know, the old scale, the old factoid of 80 big glasses, which is 64 ounces.
depends on the person and the activity. Yep.
Right, that's what I'm saying. That's pretty good.
If you're really active, you should drink more. You know.
So you're saying all of us sitting here should drink more?
Yeah. At least half more, half to more. You're gonna go to the bathroom a lot, but that's good. All right. So the final component about the grow plate. Have a grow plate. So you can see here I got GROW, greens, real protein, omega-3, whole carbs. And that's roughly about the proportions you're looking for right there. I know that the protein looks a little small, but that doesn't have to be that small. And omega-3s can actually be combined with your protein if you have something like salmon or something like that. Call it the grow plate. So next steps. The 14-day grow challenge. Pick one of the things out of the, start small. Pick one of the things out of the presentation you just saw to say, this is what I'm going to implement over the next 4 days, whether it comes to the G, the R, the O, the W. So I'm going to do this one thing, or this two things for the next 14 days. Once I get that down, I'm going to move on to the next thing, and then to the next thing. We're talking about a gradual lifestyle change. It's not trying to overcomplicate and do everything all at once. Read your labels. I have a habit of just, when I get it, oh, ooh, yeah, no. If I can't pronounce it, kind of minor, what? That's kind of my thing now. If I can't pronounce it, and reading, remember your why. Why are you on this journey? I want to tie this back in. We talked about motivation. Why are you on this journey? Why are you trying to transform your body? And it needs to be more than just a vanity reason in terms of I want to look better or I want to feel better. But what are you trying to do? What contribution are you trying to make? What are you trying to do for yourself, accomplish for yourself, for your family, for your career, for your children? And tying your why back into a much larger goal is going to give you more motivation to go through and to not eat those things or to stick to this thing or to say I can eat this and then flip it over to this, making substitutions and things like that. And then last thing, failure is an illusion. It's all learning experiences. That's one of the biggest things that I've been realizing, really embodying lately, is that there's no such thing as failure. Like, who I am as a person, as a human being, is not defined by what I do or what I don't do, what I eat and what I don't eat, what I accomplish, what I don't accomplish. Especially as a man, we're very, very like, got to take the world, accomplish everything in the world. And our egos really take a hit when we don't get something done or if we fail at something. And so I had to really come to a point where I was like, okay, Mitch, it's all about growth. It's all about contribution. It's all about getting better. So I had to get past my failure. And then change your mind, change your body. Change your mind, change your body. Get your mind on board and you start saying, I am the type of person who, I'm the kind of person who eats foods that grow or has more omega-3s in my diet or eats more leafy greens or something like that. I'm the kind of person who begins to change who you are, change who you think you are. Your attitudes change, your feelings change, your actions change, your results change. Change your goal, change your mind, change your body, change your goal, change your outcome. All right, guys, that's what I have for you today. Eat this, not that. Think this, not that. This is my think section. I actually wanted to start it off like this whole thing, but I was like, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to get you guys the nuts and bolts on simple rules. Now, I don't want to set you guys up for any type of failure, and that's why I'm talking about starting small and implementing this over time. And then when you're out, as much as possible, looking for foods that grow. All right? All right, guys, that's what I have.